Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're gonna talk about another team that I built for the battle against Aschetius, and this time around the damage is gonna drop down by quite a little bit, right? So after we've done the two main keys, which are gonna be, you know, the usual ones, the Rook one, which obviously can do 200 million or more. Then we have obviously the cheese one with Belvernal, okay, that I managed to do 350 million with. Now the damage is going to drop a lot lower, right, because of several reasons. First of all, we already passed the 50% HP threshold, and if you did not know, it says over here, difficulty will be increased when the boss's HP reduces to 50%. So we're having, I think we're already at past that one. I think this one already took effect because I think it happened before the reset. I've not seen any changes in the skill, so maybe it didn't happen, but anyway, it's still gonna be really tough. But another reason why it's really tough is because we're lacking a ton of these buffs, right? Because the game was down because of server maintenance, it's hard to get these buffs, and that means that I had to push the accuracies higher. I had to push pretty much everything a lot higher, and it made it more difficult. However, I said, you know what, let me try and see whatever other teams I could do, but it's kind of hard to get myself to some bigger numbers. Like, I guess I'm going to show you the third best team. I was going to show you this one, but I decided, you know what, let me just show you the third best team that I personally can do, and that's going to be my shadow team, right? So it is a little bit complex to try and tackle having the right skills at the right time to have enough, you know, of the buffs, of the debuffs, of everything. And the only way I could do it with the heroes that I have on my account was to only bring 2 shadow people and then 3 supports. So you see that team is basically built of Spalta, Aladia, then Ozul, obviously Astayan, because she has to be in the team, and then I'm actually using Thea, right? Thea does help us a little bit in this team because of the fact that she brings that debuff immunity, which is pretty important for the sake of this team. Now, let me run this, and then obviously I'm going to explain how this one works, but it's pretty straightforward. You want to have the debuff immunity before this hit happens, right? And having somebody like a Thea in your team makes it a lot easier to do that, because the way that Thea has the ultimate, she kind of has that on a 60 second cooldown, right, just as base. Which means if you give her a little bit of skill haste, you can easily get that to 15 seconds. That means you can do it twice during the whole 30 rotation of the boss. Now, the cool thing about that is the fact that she does that debuff immunity for all the range people, and then when she does her second skill, right, her battle skill, she heals everybody that is under invisibility, right? She puts invisibility and debuff immunity on range characters. Now, the one that obviously does not take advantage of that or does not receive those buffs is going to be Aspalta, and that makes it a little bit tricky. However, she does manage to survive pretty well in this fight, and does, you know, she does some extra damage as well, even though she is using the witch's remains. This was the perfect combination, or the best combination that I could come up with, where I have the horn, where I have the chest, where I have, you know, enough shields, attack penalty, all of that stuff in order to make it work. I tried to give Aspalta different artifact, right? I tried to go with damage on her and then give us tie on the witch's remains. It just did not work as well, right? Maybe one way that I could have tried to do it is to have us, what's her name? Thea, instead of having the chest of radiance, I could have tried and went with the shell, but for some reason that one's bugged, right? The one where if you don't land the debuff when you do the ultimate, you land defense penalty, but again, it doesn't work for some reason, it's bugged, so that was an idea that was thrown out of the gate. But you can see I do 121 million with this one. Damage overall, obviously was going to be at the top, second, then Aspalta, and then everybody else a little bit of damage. Now, I'm not going to save it, I'm just going to run it later, but let me show you exactly what the presets are. However, before I do that, I'm gonna say something that's extremely important for this team that can make you not have to worry about this third skill, right? So the second skill. So the second skill deals damage to the enemy, which is us, with the highest HP, and reduces their ultimate energy by 100%. Now, the way that you mitigate this, or pretty much, you know, just ignore it, is make sure that the person that has the highest HP is is gonna be somebody that doesn't have ultimate energy. That means a shadow hero. So either Ozul, which is obviously not the ideal one because you want to give him as much damage as possible if you have him, or in my case, it's gonna be Aspalta, right? Aspalta has the highest HP, which means she's gonna get that hit every single time, which means there's nothing that gets disrupted from our turn order, and this team works just perfect. Now let's look at the skill timings. The only thing that I've timed is I have Thea go at 25 and then every 15 seconds, and that's about it. Apart from that, everybody just goes full YOLO, and this team works pretty fine. Now let's have a look at the builds that we have. I guess let's start with Thea. So Thea's basically just gave us some skill haste to make sure that her ultimate, right, gets to under the 15. It's a little bit, you know, overkill, but the more skill haste, the better. And then Enlightenment, because again, she heals everybody under invisibility plus the initial target based on her attack and Enlightenment. So you're not going to build her with damage, you're going to give her Enlightenment. I guess if there's some attack as well, it's good, but you don't care about anything else. That's why you see I don't have any set on her, just like 2 random ones. Maybe this is a mistake. Maybe over here I should have actually had an Enlightenment chest like this, so it has a chance to do higher healing. I can do this. I lose some skill haste, but she's still under that 15 seconds. So maybe this is the right way. And then I guess since I'm doing that, let me complete the set for the Emissary's Whisper, and let me just do attributes. Go with the highest Enlightenment I possibly can, which means I lose a little bit of Enlightenment and I have a complete set. Maybe she's gonna do some damage, but this is pretty much Thea. Now keep in mind, like I said, I put the Chest of Radiance. This one gives 10 because we have a 5 element synergy. It gives 10% attack and defense to all of the team. However, if it worked ideally, I would use this one, right? And just try to give her as little accuracy as possible, because every time she does not land the debuff, which she has one debuff, Healing Prohibition, every time she doesn't land that, she lands the defense penalty too, which means it allows us to build Aspalta with some higher damage, right? So instead of having Aspalta with accuracy, which you can see over here, and with Witch's Remains, I can just give her the Poison of Swamp, because obviously I have Ozul's exclusive artifact. Now, like I mentioned, Aspalta has high accuracy because she's the Witch's Remains, and then I gave her the attack speed set. You want to make sure you have the Echo of War, because you only have 2 shadow people in the team, which means you want to attack as often as possible so that you keep producing more and more shadow energy, so that Ozul doesn't get out of that shadow form, right, out of that demon form, which it only happens once during the fight if I saw. So the more attack speed, the better. You can see obviously the accuracy that we need and as much damage as I could, and with obviously the crit rate glove in the Strike the Unprepared. Or you can even go for shadow people with this, right? You can go with Chaos Symbiosis, because this one does not affect their energy recharge, right? They have no ultimate energy, they have chaos energy. So if you have something better in this set, you could go with the crit damage glove, then by all means go with that, as you're gonna see I did on Ozul. Now let's check Ozul. Like I mentioned, Ozul, pretty decent crit damage, close to 100% crit rate, decent attack. Obviously has his exclusive artifact, which makes him do more damage with the basic attacks. Crit damage glove in the Chaos Symbiosis, like I mentioned, and then again Echo of War as the set. Plus you see I have pretty decent attack speed, right? Not only from the set, but also from the positive rune, some attack speed, and also from the negative rune. I did have some attack speed, but then I swapped it. The more attack speed you can give Ozul, the better. Now Astarion, she's obviously going to be a ton of HP. This is a curious thing. For some reason, she's not the one taking the hit, right? The single target hit, even though she has a ton of HP. I guess it's because of her passive, right? Because she, I think Ozul gets that extra HP in there, and I think Ozul takes the single target hit, because Astarion's passive says this: at the start of the battle, steals, where is it? So steals 30% of their HP and defense, and then 50% of the stolen attribute will be transferred to the ally with the highest attack, and that's going to be Ozul. So actually I think the Ozul takes a single target hit, which is not a problem because he's really tanky once he goes in the demon form, because as you can see over here in the demon form, he gets this one, damage reduction. So he receives 20% less damage, which obviously helps keep him alive, plus the HP and defense that we transfer from Astarion. Now Astarion is obviously running the, what's called Moonlight Mantle for her healing, is based off of HP. She runs the Solar King's Horn to boost more damage, and then ancestral protection. And then the last one in the team, which is going to be Aladia, she's in here for some shields and for that attack penalty. It's not the best, the most consistent, but she does bring attack penalty on her passive. Every time somebody under a shield gets hit, there's a 30% chance to land attack penalty for 10 seconds, so that's really good. And then obviously the shields on her ultimate, and then she's the one that also has the Cirrus Whisper, because again, like I mentioned, her passive can keep rocking and landing that attack penalty, which means she's going to be the best one for this set to keep putting that attack up from the Cirrus Whisper. And then when it comes to the artifact, I went with the Elminster artifact that gives us bigger shields. Obviously, if you don't have this one, you can go with whichever one is going to be best for you, that gives you higher shields or more accuracy or whatever helps. This one just works good because it gives us enlightenment, it increases the duration of buffs and the value of the shield, so it's just the perfect one. But yeah, I guess we're gonna leave it at this for today, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.